Today is May 10th, 2023. This is Inglastic, host of The Update, bringing you another audiobook, this time for the developer's notes regarding the combat system. Links in the description. The combat style of Wuthering Waves can be expressed in the three following aspects: fast-paced action, visually appealing combat representation, and strategy-oriented team building. You would already have experienced the first two aspects during your initial engagement with the Crownless. Facing such a formidable foe also forces you to quickly master the techniques of offense and evasion as the battle continues, further sensing the intense buildup of tensions as blade and lance collide. You sure will gain a basic understanding of Wuthering Wave's combat system after defeating the Crownless. The movesets you would commonly use in combat can be summarized in the following categories: normal attack, evasion, resonance skill, resonance liberation, resonance circuit, and a parry. Every resonator has their own set of normal attacks, which not only is the most commonly used means of offense, but also leads to a variety of fighting styles. Let's take Anka, for example. As her normal attack progresses to the fourth stage, an emotion particle will show up around her. Quickly performing a follow-up normal attack within the particle's duration will initiate an extra attack in the form of an enlarged woolly. Tapping or clicking the attack button at the correct moment to enhance normal attacks brings more rhythm and enjoyment to overall combat, which also gives off the impression that Anka's usual fighting style is rather orderly and paced, which is a stark contrast to the combat style during her state of frenzy. A heavy attack can be performed by holding down the normal attack button. Doing so usually consumes a certain amount of stamina. However, pistol-wielding resonators will instead enter aim mode to execute a single, more powerful shot. In addition to being a much stronger normal attack, the heavy attack plays a crucial part for some of the resonators during their combat. After Tao Qi issues a heavy attack, she enters the state of Xuanwu's defense, having her focus more on defense to reduce the amount of incoming damage by consuming stamina. Once received enough damage, she dishes out a counterblow and heals her team members in the process. Sanhua, on the other hand, can detonate wall of ice picks, ice prisms, and glaciers along the strike path of her heavy attack, which, coupled with the perfect timing of a resonance skill, will deal a serious blow to enemies in an instant. Every resonator has the capability to conduct attacks whilst mid-air, yet the methods vary depending on weapon type or the characters themselves. During the limited time after performing his resonance skill, Ziyan is able to change his attack style in the air. As for Chixia and many other pistol-wielding resonators, they will lay down continuous fire while in the air until stamina is depleted. Some resonators can even perform mid-air heavy attacks. By consuming a certain amount of stamina, the controlling resonator will perform a rapid evasion towards the given direction. If no directional command is issued, the resonator will automatically perform a backward evasion, with the added priority allowing the evasion maneuver to interrupt a majority of actions. You may evade an enemy's attack right before contact, triggering an evasive counterattack and creating more offensive opportunities for yourself. Each resonator bears their own unique resonance skill. While playing an important role in combat, it is often closely tied with the resonator's circuit and liberation. Most resonators require some time to recover after each use of their resonance skill, meaning mastering its timing is of utmost importance. However, there are occasional exceptions. Danqing consumes a certain amount of her HP each time she performs Vermilion Shards, Her resonance skill requires no recovery time. Arts from Vermilion Shards are combined with her normal attack, dealing continuous damage to foes while recharging her Scarlet Essence. Once Scarlet Essence is fully recharged, Danting can unleash even more deadly combos of attacks and regenerate her HP. A style of combat featuring the cycle of consuming and regenerating HP gives Danting the power to deal massive amounts of damage to enemies while simultaneously swaying herself on the edge of danger. Resonance energy can be accumulated by striking a target with the resonance skill or when a concerto effect is triggered. Once resonance energy reaches its peak, a more powerful liberation can be unleashed. Resonance Liberation is generally considered to be the most powerful ability of a resonator. Activation of this ability can often turn the tide in battles. Besides dealing immense amounts of damage to enemies, Liberation can also enhance the capabilities of the caster or the entire team within a limited time frame. For instance, Jiyan will enter his triumphant status after casting Sky Roaming Certitude. His claymore becomes a lance guiding the Qinglong's path, clearing any threat that poses to Huanglong. Jue Yuan's resonance liberation stimulates the growth of vegetation around her, dealing damage to enemies and marking them with photosynthesis sigil. Team members dealing damage to enemies marked with photosynthesis sigil will receive healing and collaborated attacks from Jue Yuan. Jue Yuan is a resonator with combined offense and healing abilities. Resonance circuit is a form of distinctive energy held by resonators. Each resonator's circuit has its unique mechanic. To a certain extent, the resonance circuit determines the resonator's main style of combat, whether it be normal attack, resonance skill, or resonance liberation. All tends to revolve around the effects of the circuit. Grasping the resonance circuit's application during combat will lead to a better understanding of each resonator's combat style. Thus, Rover's combat circulates around the collection of sound fragments through constant strikes and evasions. Sound fragments are then consumed with the use of the resonance skill for further damage and restoration of resonance energy, preparing for the next resonance liberation. The process is based on the mechanics of Rover's own resonance circuit, a complete combat cycle consisting of offense, evasion, and skills is formed. Each resonator has their own unique mechanic which offers players rich combat experiences and a feeling of control. In some situations, the enemy's executions of certain skills reveals a parry opportunity, with a successful parry disrupting the enemy's attack entirely and yielding surprising results. Concerto energy can be accumulated through dealing direct damage and using echo skills. Switching to another resonator with concerto energy, fully charged, triggers the concerto effect of the corresponding resonance attribute. This action depletes your concerto energy. Due to differences in resonance attributes, there are 5 types of concerto effects: unison, ensemble, sustenance, legato, and duet. Each concerto effect displays a standalone result during combat, providing substantial support for rovers during heated situations. This displays the importance of a reasonable team composition with the right concerto effects for the right occasions, putting rover strategy in team building to the test as well. Ziyan, partnered with Mortefi, Aerial, and Fusion, during combat sets off the Heat Ensemble effect, which awards the resonator on the field with increased attack and critical damage, suiting perfectly with Ziyan's fighting style. Followed by Mortefi's unleashing of his liberation, all members of the team will be applied with Vulcan Rhapsody, a status which launches blazing fusion damage towards enemies with each resonator's normal or heavy attack. Heat Ensemble and Vulcan Rhapsody along with Ziyan's triumphant status, a deadly combination that shall leave nothing but destruction for the enemies in its wake. However, this is merely one of the many examples showcasing the effective use of the concerto effect. A diverse collection of resonators and concerto effects will enrich your combat experience. Switch resonators at the moment when concerto energy is maxed to carry out the concerto skill of the said resonator. Different resonators boast different concerto skills, appearing on the battlefield in varying ways and locations. In a world ridden with adversity, each resonator revolves around their own resonance circuit and their team's concerto effects to resist the unending enemies. Accumulate concerto energy through attacks, skills, echo abilities, and the other means, leading to the triggering of concerto effects to enhance the performances of the resonators on field. Finally, spend resonance energy to cast a powerful resonant liberation, dealing the enemy a final blow. Needless to say, this is only the tip of the iceberg of combat in Wuthering Waves. As you come across numerous resonators during your journey, more and more combat features await to be uncovered.